Welcome back from the baseline with Premier Basketball. Shane Laflin here with Mark Williams. We're going to do a quick rundown today of some events from last weekend, and then we're going to preview Heart of Texas and Super 64 that are coming up here in the next few days. Mark, we're back. I think we're both getting some rain right now. I think it's a little gray.
It's a little gray. It is.
Yeah,
At least you're getting rain. We're just getting the cloud cover.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's been like spitting on us, so we'll see how the rest of the day goes. But we try to do the best with the lighting since my lighting failure the other day. So, all right. So you jumped on the road this weekend, ran up to Tulsa for Border War, and then came back and caught a day at Let Freedom Ring. So let's make sure we touch on some players and some teams that you saw, and fill us in, and then we'll get to the preview of the events later.
Absolutely. Drove up to Tulsa for Border War Top 72, PBR and Ruben Diaz with the Shock kind of joined forces for this event, and really had a good collection of Oklahoma, some Missouri, up into Nebraska teams there. And, some notable kids that stuck out. One, obviously, was 2022 Darian Buggs with the Mavs Elite. Really the first time I've heard the name, but the first time I got to see her, and she was very impressive.
They were at She Got Game in December. They came down with Jim's classing group. Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, they're with that one. I happened not to be there, so I didn't get to see her there. So great athlete, good bounce, shoot it, attack it. Really a high-level prospect there. Then 2023, Elise Hill with Oklahoma Federal Ballers on their 2022 gold team. And then Rory Greer, 2021 with Oklahoma Lady Fusion, were a couple of kids who caught my eye. Couple notes. The 2025 class in Oklahoma has a chance to be pretty good.
Man, because you were texting about somebody. We had just seen two the weekend before. That was the first text I think we got from you. Yep. Saturday was like, I found another one in Oklahoma.
Yeah, Mackenzie, 2025, Mackenzie Matherin from Broken Arrow. I caught her first round, and I mean, a strong kid, can handle it, can pass it, can shoot it. It was very, very impressive there. And, we saw Parks, we saw Lofton, talking to some other people around. That 2025 class has a chance to be pretty good in Oklahoma. So exciting to kind of see and watch those kids as they come up. A couple other things to note. Shock 2022, the 3SSB had really two good backcourt kids. Maggie Saki and Alexa Goudier. I may have said the last name wrong, and I'm sorry if I did. They're worth checking out. And then got to see Nebraska attack. Really strong team last year. They got some 21s, but their 2023 class has a chance to be pretty good too. Their shooter on their 17U team, Jenna Hop, really, really nice shooter. And then they have Chloe Lemon and Sierra Tegeland that played on their 16U team. And then they had their 15s that were really good as well. And so one kid that I liked, kind of made me think of Emily Ryan going to Iowa State a little bit, was Allison Wiedner, the 2021 there on their 17U. And then I got to see the Running Angels out of Kansas City. And they always do a good job and play hard and compete. And a couple of kids, two kids of note there that I saw that really stuck out was on their 16U team, Anaya Webb, 6'1" shooter, shoot it, put it on the floor a little bit, and she caught my eye. And then on their 17U team was Jemiah Powell, a little tough point guard, and shoot it, really finished well in the lane through contact, but she was just fast. Baseline speed. And so, but that 17U team has some interesting prospects as well there for the Running Angels. We used to call them Della Lamb Running Angels. In the book, they were KC Running Angels. And so,
okay, so same. That's what I was going to ask. I thought same organization.
Yep, same organization.
All of that film for any coaches watching that didn't get to catch it this weekend, they'll be able to go catch that film on PassTheBall.com. That particular event was Pass the Ball, so it's available for anybody to go check out. Especially, sounds like you named a couple 21s
Yeah.
that maybe still need some looks. So
Yeah,
obviously, we want to
absolutely.
serve that class. We want to serve them all, but we have particular attention on the 21s that still need looks right now.
Absolutely. And there was plenty of them there, for all level for kids to watch
Yeah,
out. And so we're going to
all
put a shout out to Marissa with Pass the Ball. She
Mhm.
live streamed the event. The pictures and the video that are going to be part of the show, she gets credit for all that action there. And she's just been in the game and helped grow the game in a lot of ways over the last.
Yeah, fantastic job. One of the originals as far as those content type of things are concerned. So absolutely,
Absolutely.
creative content. Yep.
Absolutely. So. Then I took the journey back, caught Let Freedom Ring
Yep.
in Mansfield on Sunday, and once again 24 class, a bunch of kids caught my eye there. The Breeze Elite 2024 have a couple prospects, Abby Holder and Kyra Fox. One of the kids, and she's out of Friendship up in Lubbock. She plays for Breeze 2021 Elite, and that's Aaron Gayden.
Oh yeah.
A guard can shoot it, and she was really impressive on that 2021 group there with Breeze. The other thing was Team Lex Breeze was there.
Yeah. First action of the year. Yep.
Right, first action for them. They got Adelie Blacklock, and shooter extraordinaire. And it's cool to see her. There's a couple opportunities where she went one-on-one with the other team's best player, and just her commit to the defensive end.
Yeah.
You could see that. A couple times she had some stops individually, and you could just see her as competitive as she is on the offensive end, it translating to the defensive end.
I saw that. I watched their matchup with Texas Elite, and she
Yep.
came out aggressive and just really assertive. And she's good, and we've noticed that. But this like it's like a take charge kind of mentality that I noticed.
Right.
I watched it on the Athlete Vision live stream.
Right, and that game was great. I mean, that was the game at the end of the day there on Sunday, and they went back and forth, and there's quality play from on the guards and wings back and forth with AJ Murat and Bella, and Team Lex Breeze has picked up, has a couple other kids that are good to see, Briley Barnes and Brooke Hooten and Bree Rain Britton. Some other prospects there just to make that team better. And then a couple other kids with the Texas Lone Star program that caught my eye is 2023 Peyton Hull on their 16U team, and then 17U 2021 Mia Topping, which I've seen her coming up, but saw some growth in her game, which was impressive. And then 2022 Haley Bingham. And so, the biggest deal is, even you take Let Freedom Ring, the weekend before was a bigger tournament, but you never know who's watching. And encourage kids, don't worry about the size or who's there, whatever. You never know who's watching. And because there may be somebody there who's connected to somebody. So every time you hit the floor, play hard and compete and get better.
Well, especially since we've got the ability to just turn on the cameras in the Mansfield,
Absolutely.
Frisco facilities and the other facilities that Athlete Vision has worked to have partnerships with and cameras and things. So especially I think we're showing under today's circumstances for sure. So, I mean, we got hit all weekend long, as you pointed out in Oklahoma. Coaches are checking in.
Yep.
I know we were talking early Saturday morning about coaches checking with us already, kind of say, hey, give me a hit list because there's a lot going on. And so we had, communicated. And that was a Pac-12 couple schools. And, of course, the Big 12s are watching. They're pretty familiar. But we had people from both coasts. I mean, I've heard from people like all four corners, Midwest, everything this week. They're happy with the quality of the live stream, and they appreciate the fact that it's on demand, and then that we're following up with kind of a hit list after the fact. And now that we've seen a couple events, we can do this preview.
Right.
So we'll go to a commercial break here. We'll show you a little bit about what was going on, what's upcoming for our summer hoops with PBR, and then we'll come back and we'll do some preview.
All right, welcome back to From the Baseline with Premier Basketball. Shane Laflin. I'm Mark Williams. Thanks for staying with us. We're going to catch up this week 5th and 6th, we have the Heart of Texas. And then 7th and 8th, we have Super 64. So excited for those events. The Super 64 this time has always been a big part of the PBR schedule. And teams coming from all across the country in this different time. We're still going to go ahead and, with safety precautions and stuff like that, which you can find on the event site if you're planning to attend. But I mean, it's really cool because, I mean, we're pretty much going to have everybody in Texas coming through within these 4 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
And from a fan standpoint or from a college coach standpoint, I mean, it's going to be a one-stop shop for you to see the players now and the future players of Texas coming out. And so, for those colleges checking out the live stream, man, this is the time that you can sit down and write names, circle names, and really, really understand what's coming out from.
Speaking of, they all got together right now and are asking about packets, live stream, and then now we've got an open spot, and so like these couple teams are trying to. Sorry, yeah. This is not going to stop right now.
It's all good. It's all good. So we're getting ready. But hey, as we let's preview, and we're going to kind of talk about the 4 days as a whole and teams that are going to be there and stuff. And so I know the team list is on the site that you can see, but for college coaches, you go to the Heart of Texas site to register for the packet, and you get the packet for the Heart of Texas and the Super 64.
Yep.
I know I've had quite a few questions on that, wanting to buy the packet. So, I know that's you're texting and I'm texting. So
now I'm done, like enough.
It's gonna be nonstop. It's that time of year until the event happens. So
yeah,
it is nonstop. But hey, let's talk about some teams that are going to be there. Possibly mention some players that coaches need to make sure and check out. So who would you say as we go in? The teams that are the must watch for college coaches.
Man, there's a whole handful. I want to make sure we're touching on, some of these 21s that still need some looks. And then, and I will say I went down the rosters that we have so far, and we're about 70%, 75% complete. I know there's still a few days, so coaches can still get in info. So I want to make sure of note, I don't have every name just yet because I could tell some of those coaches were still updating rosters. Some of them only had a few. Some of them had last year's information as far as roster information. So they'll get that in. So, but we did have to do this show a couple days ahead of time because it takes some time to produce. Obviously, we want to get this out before the event. So we're going to touch, obviously, for those interested, we'll be sending out names during the event to college coaches. And then post-event, we'll do a recap as well. So we will get it kind of an all-encompassing thing. We'll do a write-up, et cetera. So I don't want anybody to feel shortchanged. But this is what we've got so far. I kind of ran down it last night. And again, it'll be semi-alphabetical order. This is Heart of Texas and Super 64. 2021 Texas Supergirls. A player that caught my eye at the She's Ballin' Showcase in the spring was Angelique Morgan. Just quick and great in the open court. She's a Harker Heights player. So for people still looking for 21s, catch them on the schedule. AD Elite Peterson generally has a pretty good competitive roster. They play hard. One that really stood out to me during the high school season, and then again, kind of the state tournament weekend, was Mia Galbraith from Lake Travis. Good, crafty guard, originally from Australia. Plays hard, and every time I see her, she's better. Cy-Fair 16U, loaded roster. Some young ones. Jason saw last week Kendall Sneed. She's going to end up at Hardin Jefferson, one of their coach's daughters. 2024, get a look. Jada Brown, 22 out of Bentonville. We podcasted on Bentonville and who was it? The other team out of Arkansas, Conway, right? We did Bentonville, Conway. Jada Brown was outstanding to us. I saw her not long ago at Brandon Clay and Chris Hansen's individual event in Austin. Amarachi Kimpson out of Little Elm, 2023 guard, dynamite. Kayla Cooper, 2022 out of Plano East. I saw her most recently, I think, at the Be Beautiful Classic, that Austin kickoff event. Saw some games during the year on like live stream or a huddle or something. I remember coming across Plano East. And then we also, I know she works out with Natalie Cho's mom, so she's gotten better over time. Remember, we ran into her at USA, and she was there because Kayla was there, so I thought that was pretty cool. Cy-Fair 17U team, again, loaded. Not going to touch on the ones that we already know, the committed players. We're talking about the guys who still, are getting looked. Desiree Wooten, 2022 out of Timberview. Chloe Clardy, 23 out of Conway that we just mentioned. I will say Amani Bartlett, we're glad she's back and healthy. Syracuse commit. I'm excited to see her. Fun fact, Thomas Davis's niece out of New York Exodus. So we talked about her the other day just because I'm glad she's back and healthy. So good for her to be back. We're happy for her. Gisela Mall out of Cedar Park, 2023. Saw her a couple weeks ago. She's physically grown. Good player, lefty score mentality. Logan Johnson, 2023 out of Tompkins. Athletic guard, competes. Deja Thomas, 2023 out of Waller. And then Riley Grays, 2023 out of the Village School. So they've got their older kids, the Kendalls, the Leah Moores, and then they've got some nice fill-in pieces playing nice roles young off the bench. So they caused some buzz over the first 2 weeks. Lady Drive and Cy-Fair played a pretty competitive game. It sounds like a DFW. Lady Drive got the best of them, it sounds like. But these are a roster you want to see. Moving on to the next, again, alphabetically, Cy-Fair Coop, 2024 group. Not going to even go to the names. They're young.
Too many.
They're loaded. They're in the 16U bracket. Going to be good. Just watch. We'll talk names after the fact. Again, there are good young ones, no question. We don't like to overdo it, but they're about to get some heat this weekend in the next couple events. So that's going to be really good. I might have Kayla Cooper for Plano East. Callie Cooper is DFW lead. I hope I said that right. Now that I'm looking at it, I hope I said Kayla Cooper earlier. For Cy-Fair 16U. Callie Cooper, 2021 from Richardson for DFW Elite Select. Definitely one that people want to get an eye on. HG Elites 2023 group. A couple of people that caught my eye, and I know you guys saw a couple others at Yellow Rose as well. Emmy Steele, Monica Marsh really stood out to me at Yellow Rose. Lady Drive, Randall Jett, we touched on them before. Kendra Gillespie's a 2021. That's a utility, all-around good player. Their 2024 group, Kazia Lofton, Kiara Smith. Lofton's a 25 we touched on. You talked about it earlier, talking about the Oklahoma 25 class. Those are both teams you want to watch, especially if your program looking for 21s. Lake City Pride, a name that stood out to me is Paris Guillory, 2023. I remember seeing her before. And then they've got young post Yanni from Ursuline and a 21 guard that Chris Goff has been telling me good things about. So this is going to be actually their first action. They haven't had the ability to play yet. So we're glad to be able to host them. Lone Star Magic, blue collar players on that team that do what they're supposed to do. If they're big, they run the rim, they play defense, they can shoot it a little bit, they rebound. And then they've got a good guard, Avery Kleinhans, that I hear a rumor that she's made a commitment to a school. And
we're going to have to figure that out.
Yeah. So New Mexico Elite's coming through. Jalen Bates is a nice skilled shooter. I'm going to be excited to watch them and their maturation over the last year. North Texas Shockers, Kiara Jackson, 2021 from SGP. I watched them on live stream last year. We're running some triangle principles. Yeah. Triangle principles. I always like it when I see it. Damon does a good job with them. Oklahoma Swarm is bringing 6 teams. We haven't had a chance to see them yet, but we know Jim and those guys always have good competitive groups. So I'm looking forward to seeing them. Oklahoma PWP 2023. Well coached by Kara Wernley, I think is how you say her last name.
Yep.
Well coached. Their young kids caught my eye last year in the spring, if I'm not mistaken. Just a group that I thought had some potential to be good. So that's another team. Oklahoma Shock, you touched on them already. They'll be in the events. Team Lex Breeze, you talked about already. Riley Barnes, Adley Blacklock. Gabrielle Fields caught my eye. Little wiggle to her, 2022. And then Tatum Bocher from the Kansas group that's on that group. Team Lex Nation, don't want to beat a dead horse. Watch them. 2023s. We talked about them in our other post-game show. Trying to move through this quick so we don't bore anybody because we tend to get a little long-winded. Same with Team Lex Tar Heels. Key there being Michaela Gatewood is healthy, which is great. They've added Jaden Thomas and Jocelyn Hartfield, two good 2022s.
Right.
Catch them, no doubt. Team Oklahoma is always fundamental. They can shoot it. They've got a commitment. I think her last name is Crawford, headed to Tulsa, and one of their teams. Always have teams for every level, or players for every level. So we've got several teams, Team Oklahoma. Texas Elite, we know we've got their 2 commits. Lefty point guard Cammie McKinney, starting to like her a little bit more each time I watch her. Jason's been a fan for a while. She had a good weekend. Figuring out how to run that team. So I thought she did a better job in the second weekend. And then Jade Masagayo, 22 from Fossil Ridge, raw, getting healthy again off of an injury from what I understand last year. And then he's got some young, Carrie's calling them like his understudies that are going to fill in for those guys next year. So definitely wants to see Texas Lone Star you touched on and we touched on coming off of Yellow Rose, 8 teams. Skilled and they play right. Jimmy coaches them hard, and then he's got coaches who do a good job throughout. So players for all levels from Texas Lone Star. A shout out to Texas Nation, just some OG guys, Irving Butler and Otis Nixon.
Yeah,
they find young talent, just so much positivity all the time. Absolutely. So I'm looking forward to seeing those guys and hosting them. Texas Platinum, several teams, several age groups, players for all levels. Claire Graham stood out to me in the event before. Tough nose point guard. I'm looking forward to seeing her again. Trey Young, elite. Keely Parks, outstanding. Olivia Watkins on my radar. A couple more we put in the report that went out to coaches as well, just to have kind of under the radar young ones. Frankie coaches them up. They do a good job. I'm looking forward to seeing them again. True Texas Hoops. I think you mentioned before, Tori is Sevier or Sevier. Don't want to butcher names. We'll go with the range of possibilities there.
Sorry about that.
A big who can run. I mean, I don't know it either. We'll have to ask him. Crabtree, who is a great player at Texas. And so she's got a nice organization of several levels. And much like Jimmy, they coach them up. They've got good basketball people in there. Unity Basketball always brings some good players. There was a player last year that caught my eye. Boston Berry was a tough, strong point guard. I'm going to be interested to see her maturation. Urban Heroes always plays hard. They got a couple kids committed. They always find places for their players. They've got players for every level. But they're going to play hard. They're going to compete. They're going to play defense.
Right.
So this will be our first look at them. Under the Lights, Adrian Mercado. Shout out to him. He recently got a sponsorship from Puma. I developed a relationship with Skylar Diggins. So I'm looking forward to how that develops for him. That was kind of getting through Heart of Texas rosters. So we'll kind of revamp alphabetically. Super 64, DC Queens out of West Texas. We had some names on the list from before. Want to make sure Kennedy Winfrey was one of them. Kayla Cobb, Chloe Callahan, some 2021s. I've seen getting some offers via social media and stuff like that. They're excited to be here, and we're excited to see them. Hardwood Elites coming down from Colorado. Made a splash last year as kind of a first-year organization. Got some commitments, got some 2022s that can play. 16U rosters got some younger sisters, and they've got some other younger players of some team of some players that are headed to the next level. So Hardwood's one of those ones. Again, we could go down the roster, but I'm just saying, check them out.
Right.
Lady Drive Nation, their top team will be in Super 64. We saw Kirsten Johnson and Ayanna Thompson have what I would consider some serious breakout weekend at Yellow Rose. Right. And then obviously they delivered last week playing well at DFW's March Fest. Bree Davis at the PG, Layla McLeod, both of those 2022s. 21 still working on things. Maddie Ott's gotten better. And then Stephanie Mosley, energy athlete. I went back and watched some film from Yellow Rose just to maybe watch her a little closer. I like what she brings to the table. So people still looking for 21s, don't miss. Get a look. Right. Lady Drive Nation 16U is in. Again, loaded roster. Come check them out. 22s and 23s, absolutely. Sci-Fair 26s, again, babies. They're talented. They know how to play. Right. I'm not a huge fan of super early recruitment necessarily, but awareness and then appreciate some young ones that are playing well, playing right, and they're talented. So that's
Absolutely.
going to be a fun one to watch develop. New Mexico Clippers have a recent commit, Kaylee Crawford to San Diego State. And then they've got, I think, Harmony Dominguez that I think you put in the database a
Yeah.
couple events ago. So New Mexico Clippers will be there. You've got San Antonio Finest coming through with various teams at each event. And we all know Ray does a great job. Levels of players there. He's going to have a couple top teams that play different styles, which is going to be really cool to watch. We talked about the planning that went into that. So I'm looking forward to that. And then Texas U, bringing their groups through. Jason saw a couple of them last week. I know Bailey Maupin, 2022, I think he's playing on their 16U team, their top group. So this will be our first look at them, but they're coming through too. And that's the quick rundown. There's going to be players for every level. We're going to have eyes everywhere. And then the great news is to kind of serve our clientele the best that we know how. We obviously will go back and watch some film after the fact of some teams that we didn't catch. But our heads are going to be on a swivel, but we want to make sure to get the quality evals. We've got the two-day events. We have the chance to see a lot of people. And then, like I said, we'll come back and talk about this. And you mentioned, making sure we're making the correct adjustments to precautions and things.
Right.
We went through, I was there week 1, you were there week 2. You saw some adjustments that we're making already. We now are requiring everybody that comes through the doors at the events to mask up,
Yep.
players and coaches until they're on court, and then everybody else. And so we're obviously doing that as well. And then some adjustments we've made outside, we've marked off the line to get in to kind of remind people to have some space. And then we're going to, we've got the QR code that people are paying for entry ahead of time. They're going to scan those outside instead of having it necessarily be all at the gate or whatever.
Right.
And then we're going to ask people to pay attention to the spots we've put down amongst the chairs since we've cleared out the bleachers for spacing amongst groups. So we're just going to ask people to pay attention to that. You mentioned our court monitors. They're all stars. They were great last week about reminding people politely. So just making sure everybody knows, like a good organization, like a good team, we've made adjustments based on the flow. But people are seeing the inflow, the outflow, changing shoes on the bench. We come in and we clear it off. We're doing all that. Like I said, shout out to Kathy and all of her preparation, Joey from the top, and proud of our group. And we're gonna, we understand the concerns. We're human beings too. We got them as well, and we're doing what we can. So those are the adjustments we've made, much like you would with a good team and a good organization. As your season progresses, you would make the adjustments, and that's what we've done. And people were great last week from what I understand. So it'll only get better going into this one.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, the big thing, hey, bring a mask, bring a chair, and cheer. Let's have some fun,
Yeah, exactly.
and be mindful of everybody. Everybody at this time has different comfort levels, and
100%.
be respectful of that, and so we've had 2 great weekends. I fully expect these 4 days to be really good, and I'm excited from a basketball standpoint that, I mean, we're going to have some really good matchups.
Agreed.
Agreed. Fantastic matchups that we always haven't had in the past couple of years because people went to different events and shoe companies had to be different places and stuff like that. And so it's going to be cool during these 4 days to see that and have the right matchups and to be able to see, hey, these 2 kids or these 2 high-level teams go against each other, and make each other better.
And the unique thing about it is, like, we've had great matchups, but they were people who maybe had traveled in. So obviously this year is slightly different. There's a little bit less of that. There's a little bit, but what we've got, the uniqueness is the matchups of some people regionally that wouldn't necessarily have been at Super 64 because they'd have been at an EYBL event, requirement or whatever. So, we've had great matchups, but it's cool just for us because we're in the state and stuff to see some of those a little bit earlier. So yeah, no, and I think we're in good shape. And yeah, I look forward to it. I like the gap in between games, kind of keeps things calm. It's good for our heads being in there all day. And then we're able to disseminate information because we got 15 to 20 minutes in between each game where we're not running to something different. So,
Right.
like I said, we will serve our team and player clients, our college clients, and then, like I said, we're just trying to help people maximize these opportunities, not just quality play and environment and experience,
Right.
but for the fact that we're missing exposure,
Right.
live exposure opportunities, we're going to do our best, which we've done with the live stream, and then we're constantly, kicking out names and lists, and we will have all of that. I mean, we
Yeah.
sent our report, our write up, and our YouTube follow up show to every single college coach in the country. And normally our report only goes to subscribers. So for that first event, we sent it to everybody, letting them know, like, hey, we're going to have some players, we're going to have some things for you. And we
Right.
just want to be able to serve everybody right now. So we understand the times that people are in. And most importantly, we made those decisions because it increases opportunities for the players.
Absolutely. Well, and that's the deal. It's important this time to think outside the box, and it's
Mm-hmm.
important to this time to remember we're here to serve. And that's what we're trying to do. I mean, the
Yeah.
show, the preview, the events, in a healthy manner, and stuff. And so, if you're a player and got questions on what to do, contact us. If you're a college coach wanting to know what players and kids and stuff, contact us. We're here to help as much as we can. Um, Ultimately, so everybody's hoop dreams come true, and you find a player, and players find a college, and um, so we're as far as Premier Basketball is concerned. I mean, we're here to help and to serve, and that starts at the top and comes down. So, but for people wanting to watch, college coaches wanting to watch Heart of Texas Super 64, you go to athletevisionsports.com, create your account. You can see the live stream there. You can register to get rosters and all that kind of stuff on Premier Basketball tournaments. So make sure and check out the action. Follow us on Twitter at PBR Hoops. Hey, so we look forward to seeing you this weekend. Heart of Texas Super 64. Watch some great basketball, seeing some great people, and really kind of trying to help college coaches and players. So we'll come back after the weekend and do an event recap. So we appreciate you tuning in to From the Baseline with Premier Basketball.
Sure.